can do it inside with Caleb Swanigan averaging a double-double. And Sean Morris for Nebraska to combat that. They give Jordy Chimanga, bottom right of your screen, his first start at 6'11".
They need his size with that front line, not just Swanigan, but Coach Matt Painter can also bring Isaac Haas off the bench.
And Haas at 7'2", a load indeed. Storylines to take a look at. Purdue looking for their first 7-2 start in Big Ten play since the 07-08 season. And Nebraska, Webster, Ty Webster, he has been so good all year long, especially in Big Ten play. Coach Matt Painter, no stranger to the Purdue sideline, 12th season, .649 winning percentage. A former Boilermaker himself, and then on the other bench, 5th year at Nebraska, 22nd year as a collegiate head coach, Tim Miles. Trying to stem the tide, trying to stop that 5-game losing skid, and a packed house here to see it. With Sean Morris, I'm Brandon Gaudin, and Chimanga winning the tap against Swanigan, and we are underway.
The freshman Carson Edwards drawing the primary assignment in the early going on the senior Ty Webster.
Try to lob it inside. Tough grab. Swanigan ripping it away from Jacobson.
Right idea, but poor execution trying to go high-low into traffic there.
And with the interior game we talked about, Sean, you got to think Purdue's going to try to go inside a lot.
And look for Nebraska to maybe run potential double teams. If there's been a weak spot in Swanigan's game, it's been his ability to take care of the basketball, but the freshman Carson Edwards certainly not shy.
And that is a strength of not only Edwards, but those Purdue guards, and even the forwards as well. 41% as a unit from deep, and a quick 3-0 lead.
Purdue also shares the ball extremely well, Brandon. 20 assists per ball game, second in the nation in that category.
On an angle, no good by Jacobson. And Purdue carries it out of there, looking to get the first 2 baskets of the contest. Both teams sport a lot of youth. Only one senior in the rotation for each side. Edwards. He's a junior. A dish inside. The double comes. The kick, and Edwards leaves it short.
Good strong double by Nebraska. Got the ball out of Swanigan's hands.
Watson trying to do it himself, and it rattles down. So Glenn Watson Jr., second leading scorer on the team at 15 a game, and he knocks it down to get Nebraska on the board. We were seeing in shoot-around, you're right, they're trying to combat that inside presence with that double team. We'll see how Purdue continues to handle it.
And it did its job there because it forced Swanigan to dribble out wide.
Shot fake forcing the issue. Edwards, no good. And a battle for the rebound. Glenn Watson takes it out of there.
Nebraska in the early going, Brandon, really packing it in defensively.
Webster off the right side. He's got that range, and he shows it. Caleb Swanigan is 22 of 43 now. That's over 50% from deep on the season.
He shot that so confidently, trailed the play very well, and he says, hey, you're not going to let me score inside, I'll take you out.
Chimanga a little wild with a left-hand hook, and it will stay on the side of Nebraska. Here's today's amazing performance presented by Quicken Loans, and it belongs to Caleb Swanigan. 17 double-doubles. That's almost comical.
Averaging 19 and 13 on the year, and showing his versatility and the work that he put in the offseason, Brandon, knocking down that 3.
That's exactly right, because the NBA scouts, one thing they told him, you need to improve your shot. Looks like he's done that. And Chimanga missing again from close range. First start for that young freshman we mentioned, Jordy Chimanga, from north of the border in Canada, only averaging 4 points a game. Offense a little slow to come around, but they like his defensive presence. And they like the presence of Dakota Mathias from the outside. 3-pointer, and that leads to an early Tim Miles, Nebraska timeout. Purdue off to a 9-2 start.
Caleb Swanigan shows you why he's knocked down 50% of his offerings, and this is what predicated the timeout for Nebraska. They get sucked in defensively, they kick it over the top, showing you why Purdue averages 20 assists per ball game and 41% from deep.
And we've sort of already touched on it, Sean, but if you're Nebraska defensively, you kind of have to pick your poison. You mentioned the double team in the post, but you're going to give something up somewhere. Speaking of three-pointers, there is one from Jack McVeigh, his 29th of the season. season.
He was 9 of 18 in the previous 4 games before going to Northwestern. He struggled a little bit, 1 of 5, but he's a rhythm jump shooter. If he's able to catch and release, he's very dangerous. If you're Purdue, you want to jam him, make him put the ball on the floor.
This time McVay on the defensive end. Jarring it loose from Vincent Edwards. Here goes Ty Webster.
And when Nebraska got that surprising win to start the conference slate, that is how they did it, Brandon. They got open floor turnovers that they were able to convert into points.
Swanigan can't silence the crowd, and Nebraska with a ball and a little 5-0 run. But that 3-0 start you mentioned, winning at Indiana, at Maryland, against Iowa, and then now the Cornhuskers have lost 5 straight. Cutting in on an angle, unable to tie it, Glenn Watson Jr. Pushing the tempo, Carson Edwards. Leaves for the trail man, Thompson. 4 3-pointers for Purdue.
DJ Thompson can knock that down if he's given space. 41% conversion rate from deep, but his real asset, almost a 5-to-1 assist turnover ratio. Fantastic. Dakota Mathias north of 3-to-1.
That's no good. Yeah, that turnover ratio for Thompson is #1 in the Big Ten, and Mathias #3 in the Big Ten. So they have done a tremendous job, as you said, at assisting and taking care of the ball. Swanigan from deep. That one short.
And a better job by Jacobson of coming out there with his hand high and obstructing the vision of Swanigan.
Purdue has taken 9 shots, 6 from outside the arc. Ty Webster, the leading scorer, fighting Jacobson. Front iron. A stop and a pop. And the young freshman Carson Edwards, no offensive rebound, though, by the other Edwards, and then he throws it into the backcourt. So a Purdue turnover, but the Boilers, thanks to the outside shooting, they have a 5-point lead. Purdue came into this contest having hit 197 three-pointers on the year. Now they've hit 201. All their baskets from behind the arc, and they lead it 12-7. Welcome courtside, everybody, with Sean Morris. I'm Brandon Gaudin. It is a challenge defensively because if you close out and limit the three-pointers, you expose what Purdue can do on the inside.
And Purdue knocking down 4 of 7 from deep. But if I'm Nebraska, I have to feel pretty good about where I am right now because they haven't been able, the Boilermakers, that is, been able to score inside the arc. And you don't want to allow the post presence of now Isaac Haas as well as Swanigan to get going, and you can live with having teams shoot as long as they're contested threes.
A man that can shoot on the other side, our Motel 6-6 man, Jack McVay. See what he did against Northwestern. Rebounded it well, too. One of his best rebounding games to go along with 8 points. He has 1 shot that has fallen so far here today. Now the timeout. Ty Webster strong, but got his own miss. Nebraska will reset. The Cornhuskers 3 of 10 from the floor so far. This is the lone senior in their rotation. Their go-to guy at 18 points a game. The fader is off the mark. Haas into the game, the big 7-2 center with a rebound.
And a nice job by Haas of sliding over there until Carson Edwards was able to recover. That made it a very difficult shot by Ty Webster.
I would say having Haas as a 6-man is a nice luxury, isn't it?
That's a 6.5.
A hook shot for the big fella. A little too much mustard. 7'2", 290. You put him with Swanigan in there. That's, gosh, that's well over 500 pounds. And a turnover. Giving the ball back to Purdue.
Now you must locate Ryan Klein if you're McVay. You can't leave him because Klein will make you pay. I mean, he comes out of a deep sleep shooting threes.
There's a foul against Ty Webster. Klein is number 14 for the Boilermakers, and he is indeed one of the deadliest shooters in the league. He's hit 79 shots in his career, 72 of them from distance, so that puts it into perspective.
And now you have the big lineup in there with Swanigan and Haas on the floor at the same time, and we talked about it. Purdue can beat you in a variety of ways and play you differently, and they show you right there with the 2 bigs isolated on the same side.
Yep. That makes it extra tough, doesn't it? You take Swanigan outside, Haas on the block. How do you defend it?
especially when you have one of your bigs, a very good big, and Ed Morrow still sidelined. Your opportunities to provide any depth along there if you get into foul trouble, very, very limited.
And Ed Morrow on the bench. He has now missed 5 straight games with a right foot injury. He's their best interior presence, the sophomore from Chicago. So that a big loss definitely throughout this entire streak, but here today with what Purdue presents.
And the young man we just showed you was Anton Gill, another player who's been lost for the season. Now with Morrow, he's out indefinitely. He has an opportunity to come back.
There's Morrow. Gill with that knee injury that you mentioned. So both guys really hurting the interior presence or lack thereof. Chimanga trying to make up for that deficit. No. But a stick back, yes, for Isaiah Roby, the talented freshman from Dixon, Illinois.
I'll tell you what, I like the future of Roby. Now, he's going to get bigger and stronger, and he looks like he's about 8 years old. But he's athletic as heck, and he showed you what he can do when he attacks the glass. A lot of length there, very, very athletic.
But if he can do that when he looks 8, when he actually looks 19.
Right, when he can drive, it's going to be phenomenal.
Off the mark, Haas cleaning it up inside. That's Purdue's first 2-point basket. The 4 3-pointers, a pair of free throws, and now the deuce by Isaac Haas.
Really good job by Edwards of moving laterally.
Chimanga, no, but contact.
Isaac Haas showing you why, Brandon, he leads the conference in field goal percentage at 62%. Showing the ability to keep it alive, kept it high, able to finish with the left hand.
Haas 7'2", Chimanga listed at 6'11", 275. Mentioned he's from north of the border, from Montreal. A little wild there on the free throw. He's shooting 65% from the stripe this year.
I like the future of this young guy. Now, he's a little raw right now. He's kind of had to been thrown into the fire. But he has the one thing that no coach, whether it's Coach Tim Miles or Matt Painter or anybody else, he has the one thing that no coach can give him. He cares. He wants to get better. You watch him in practice. He's observant. He really goes hard in drills. It's going to pay dividends for him. He's having to play more minutes now than I think they wanted to have him play, but he's throwing in right now.
Another thing he gives them that coaches can't teach, a 7'4" wingspan. That's nice as well. You mentioned Klein, a great shooter, not there.
Look at Swanee.
Diving underneath. He's trying to call for a timeout, and they will grant him that timeout. What hustle by Caleb Swanigan. Quick timeout, Purdue. 16, Nebraska 9, a little over 12 to play first half. But that young man there in the glasses, today is Avery Strong Day. He's been battling leukemia since 2 years of age. Former Nebraska assistant coach Chris Harriman, now at New Mexico. His wife and son coming back, and Avery had the chance to lead the team out of the tunnel here to a rousing ovation. And like I said, I mean, we say it all the time, but it helps put everything into perspective, doesn't it?
Well said, my friend.
He's now 9 years old, still battling leukemia, but a lot of hope for young Avery. And hashtag Avery Strong is what the fans are tweeting and posting today from Pinnacle Bank Arena. All smiles. There's the shirts that they handed out. And there's the sneakers that the coaches are wearing all week long in the fight against cancer. 16-9 Boilermakers, inside out. Swanigan, beautiful shot fake, steps in, misses from 18. And then Haas can't corral it. It falls to Glenn Watson.
Now they have numbers with Haas down if they can take advantage.
They try to skip it to Taylor, work it around the arc. But Horn can't find it.
Good sequence, however, for Nebraska. You can live with that. They didn't allow Nebraska to get situated defensively, just not able to convert.
Klein getting inside up top to Matthias. Swanigan once again, the inside-out game between he and Isaac Haas.
And the ball reversal allowed Haas to really set up shop deep, and he put the freshman Chimanga right underneath the basket.
So Isaac Haas with 6 points off the bench. He averages a point about every minute and a half, which is near the top of the Big Ten. So productive, only playing 21 minutes a game, but averaging almost 14 points. Horn, who missed last game, gives it off on the wing, and Taylor with a wild shot inside. They will whistle a foul. Nebraska Nebraska's going to have it underneath. Let's go back and here's what we're seeing an early dose of, Sean Morris.
The ball reversal. You see the duck in right at the bottom of your screen, and that was made possible because they worked the ball from side to side. Swanigan showing you his unselfish play. That allowed Haas that extra half a step to get his hip into the defender, and it was over.
The foul was on Swanigan, his first on the floor. Taylor, nice little backdoor dish, but Horn unable to finish. He will get the rebound and then get fouled, but frustrated with himself, he couldn't lay it in.
Beautiful pass and excellent movement without the basketball by Horn. You see, again, it's the ball reversal, and there's a miscommunication between Swanigan and Klein. That allowed the dive to the rim by Horn, who's not able to convert, but will shoot a couple.
I said Jariah Horn, a freshman, did not play against Northwestern, just the second time all year. It was a coach's decision. He wasn't injured. Said he just hasn't been practicing well. Coach Miles in this losing streak trying to send a message, and he's back out there this afternoon.
The foul was after the field goal attempt, and this is a tough time right now for Nebraska because you have your leading scorer Webster on the bench.
Second leading scorer with the ball right now in Watson, and it is knocked out of bounds. And just as you say that, here comes Ty Webster.
Now this is a situation, and we'll see if Purdue tries to take it away, but this out-of-bounds situation, Nebraska really tries to get the ball in the hands of Webster coming off a screen along the baseline. And they took it away. Good job by Purdue of honoring the scouting report.
So they go up top to the safety valve, Chimanga, and reset. Watson contested. He doesn't care. It's a three from the wing.
He's like, well, I've got one of the guys that I can actually see over the top of. P.J. Thompson giving some size, and nice job by Watson of taking advantage.
Watson listed at 6'1", maybe generously, but he did have a little advantage, and he knocks it down. Still Boilers by 6. Swanigan, that's one of his weaknesses, turnovers. In transition, Horn from downtown.
Nice play on both ends by Taylor. It started with the inside strip deflection, then he got the ball in the middle of the floor, collapsed the defense, then the kick to the trailer Horn. Nice job by Taylor.
And 15,000 making some noise in Lincoln. Swanigan, foul on the floor. The crowd motioning for a travel, but they won't get the call.
Nice job by Taylor. You're going to see him come in with the inside hand. Great job. He doesn't go with the strong hand. He comes with the inside hand. Then you dribble, collapse the defense. That allows the trailer Horn to step into the three. But a really nice job by Evan Taylor on both ends of the floor. And it started with the nuance, with the deflection coming with the inside hand rather than going with his dominant hand.
Huskers have trimmed it to 3. Purdue coming in with that 17-4 record, ranked 20th in the nation. Inside, there's that double team. But he finds Thompson. In and out. And a chance for Nebraska to tie or get within 1 on the drive. A foul on the floor.
And that's a really good job by the senior Webster of taking advantage of the freshman Carson Edwards. Edwards needed to take another half a step. He didn't take that half a step. He reached, hence the foul. Yeah, they like that matchup.
He'll take it all day. A little strong. Great shot fake, but Webster no good from inside the arc. And then the Euro step on the other end is a little strong for Vincent Edwards. Pass up ahead. Horn cracks it down and throws it down. That painter wants a timeout as 15,000 rise to their feet in Lincoln, Nebraska. And the Purdue lead has
The miss. They're very fortunate. It looked like Matthias might be able to track that down, but Nebraska understands, Brandon, that they want to get out and get easy baskets, either with deflections and then conversions, or run when the opportunity is there, because they just don't have the opportunity to throw the ball inside and operate a lot in the half-court set.
Purdue had a 9-2 run. Nebraska's now answered that with an 8-0 run by themselves. Edwards, little teardrop. And that doesn't fall for the freshman. A chance for Nebraska now to grab the lead. Jacobson to the corner. Horn again. And gobbled up by Dakota Matthias. Purdue started 4 of 5 from 3. They've missed their last 4 attempts from long range.
And we talked about it coming out of that first break. If you're Nebraska, you had to feel pretty good, even though Purdue knocked down 4 of their first 7. You knew they weren't going to be able to continue that pace.
This time they go inside out. Open look. Carson Edwards. So they had missed their last 4, and he knocks it down and changes that.
How about the pass out of the post by Swanigan? Kind of like a quarterback understanding, look, if the blitz is coming, that's where the open receiver is. In that case, it was Edwards.
Fading away from the basket, Ty Webster off the mark, but this will stay with Nebraska. 7:41 to play in the first half. Good early action. Boilermakers up 4. Program, he's got a good one in Glenn Watson, the sophomore, doesn't he?
Certainly does, especially when you consider what's at stake. And someone gave me the keys to something once, and it was a gremlin. They don't even make those anymore.
Passing inside to Jacobson out of the timeout. He wants to challenge Swanigan, and a challenge accepted, and a mission accomplished as well, a 2-pointer.
And Brendan, how about converting what you were working on in the shoot-around into a game situation? That's the exact move, the inside pivot that the coaching staff with Nebraska was trying to get that front line to execute.
And a second turnover for Caleb Swanigan. You and I talked about it pregame, Sean. 76 now turnovers for Swanigan this year. That's a big weakness of his.
He's had a couple of games, one with 7, another with 8, averaging about 4 miscues per ball game. And good job by Jacobson of walling up.
Total turnovers, 3 for Purdue, 2 for Nebraska through the first almost 13 minutes of action. Webster patient, jump pass, Glenn Watson, bring it out. First lead for Nebraska. Purdue going to the Swanigan well. Passes out of a double team.
Boy, is Nebraska active defensively, and the communication is stellar.
Swanigan steps through the double. No good twice, and then the third time it drops down. They're going to credit that not to Swanigan, but to Vincent Edwards. Purdue regains the lead. Horn, he has 5. Can he have 7? No, wild shot.
Horn needed to make the extra pass, even though he cleans up the garbage. Boy, they're fortunate because they missed McVay wide open at the top of the key.
Fortunate or not, Jariah Horn, who averages less than 4 points a game, and as I mentioned, didn't play against Northwestern, he now has 7.
How do you respond to adversity? Thus far, Horn has done a very good job. And another turnover by Swanigan. And the reason that turnover was created, the double team came very, very strongly, and then Swanigan made a rare mistake you don't see him make. He stood straight up. That allowed the defense to get into him, and he shuffles his feet.
You noted it a moment ago, but I would say 10 to 15 minutes of their shoot-around for Nebraska was focused just on that, double-teaming Swanigan.
Yep, and to see it sometimes with 18 to 22-year-old kids, they can't remember what happened from one moment to the next, but they've certainly carried it over thus far.
Glenn Watson stepping back, rolling off into the hands of Swanigan. Outlet to Carson Edwards. And he throws it away. Caught under the basket with nowhere to go. Coming up at the half, State Farm halftime report. Dave Revson, Mike DeCourcy, and Jess Settles in our Chicago studio. Reigning Big Ten Freshman of the Week, Carson Edwards. He's been good at taking care of the basketball, not on that possession. On the other end, Webster. Nebraska had a couple really nice shot fakes. This time going to the rim off the shot fake. Webster finishes.
That's a difficult shot because there was a lot of traffic, Brandon, but he also had to extend the ball away from his body and put a great deal of anguish to make that conversion.
You wouldn't know anybody was on a 5-game losing streak inside this building right now, that's for sure. Haas no good from inside.
Nice job by Chimanga as well.
Webster leaves for McVay. for the silencer.
Well, I thought Haas just got driven to the floor.
And you know there's usually a foul if 7'2", 290 is falling down to the ground.
I'm just glad we're not on a tectonic plate, because that might have been earthquake inspired.
But then the Nebraska kickout went right to Thompson. He buries the trifecta. And then a foul on the Boilers against Dakota Mathias. A great drive to the basket by Ty Webster, and the Husker fans, something to cheer about here. McVeigh putting him up. 18th all-time meeting between these two schools right now. Nebraska by 3. Next on BTN, more Big Ten hoops. Indiana Northwestern coverage starting right after our game on BTN. Of course, also streaming live on BTN to go. Wayne Randazzo, John Crispin will have the call. Here in Lincoln, I'm Brandon Gauden with Sean Morris. You know, before the game, I asked Matt Painter, Boilermakers head coach, what's one thing you want to improve? He said, we have to limit our turnovers, especially in the post. They haven't done that early.
Yeah, 5 early miscues for the Boilermakers, 3 of those coming from Caleb Swanigan. We talked about it a little bit earlier. If there is a blemish on his otherwise phenomenal season to date, it's been turnovers, averaging a little bit south of 4 miscues per ball game, but he's coming off a game where he had 7 turnovers, even though he had a stellar effort in that big win on the road versus Michigan State.
He had 25 and 17 in that game, and that was an emotional game for him. He verbaled to Michigan State, ended up going to Purdue. Players actually doused him in an ice water bucket after the game in the locker room. McVeigh, though, he's got ice water in his veins. He's hit 3 threes. Nebraska back up 6.
And if you're Purdue, Brandon, you have to locate Jack McVeigh and make him put the ball on the floor. You cannot allow him to catch and release, especially when he saw his first one go down. His confidence is really high right now.
77% of his field goals made are from deep, so they've got to know his game. On the left side, Thompson will try to even it, but he cannot. Ty Webster, this time inside the arc, offensive foul. And that's his second.
P.J. Thompson earns a scholarship here. He slides over, takes the punch right in the chest. That was good team defense and recognition by P.J. Thompson, because if he doesn't slide over, that is a layup, because Webster kind of lulled the initial defensive thrust by Purdue to sleep with a hesitation dribble. They got up out of their stance, but Thompson bails them out.
One of the age-old basketball questions, 2 fouls first half. Do you take your player out? Tim Miles leaving Webster out there, at least for now, as Swanigan hits the mid-range jumper.
He is so much better than he was a year ago, and a year ago he was very good. Nice little pick and pop there, executed by Purdue.
Swanigan averaged 10 and 8 last season. This year, 19 and 12.7. Crossover, Taylor. Back iron. Knocking it in the air. Klein, he tries to save it, and he does save it.
You can't lose sight of Klein in the corner. He's in there for one reason.
He's got it right now. He's going to go down to Haas. Nice pivot, and one. Really good job by Purdue, Brandon, of forcing Nebraska to scramble defensively. In that sequence, the ball didn't hit the floor. Ping, ping, duck in, conversion. Nice job by Klein, because he had an opportunity to shoot a 3, but he saw the big fella step in and led him right into a shooting motion. Nice job by Klein. I noted that Tim Miles opted to leave in Webster and Chimanga with 2 fouls. Now Chimanga just picked up his 3rd. Coming up at the half, State Farm halftime report. Again, it'll be Dave Refson, Mike DeCourcy, and Jess Settles in Chicago. But that's been a problem for the freshman Jordy Chimanga, and they need his presence inside of this game.
Especially with, Michael Jacobson has been kind of shuttling back and forth to the locker room. You almost wonder if he's a little under the weather and ill, because he's made a couple of trips back to the locker room in dead ball situations.
McVeigh, who's hit 3 threes, no good, but what a stick back by Ty Webster.
I'm going to get Haas a touch here. I just want to get Haas a touch.
They do. And he finds Edwards on the other block. The foul is on the floor. against Glenn Watson Jr.
Nebraska wasn't able to convert initially. You see what happens when you force McVay to move a little bit. He didn't have his feet set, but Purdue has a rare breakdown where they don't put a body on Webster, and he's able to convert.
It is rare to get offensive rebounds against the Boilers. They're one of the best at cleaning up the defensive glass. Klein, that's what he does. You said it, but he's 0 for 2 from deep. Webster, cross-court skip. There's McVay. Yes!
Yeah, and that's not going to make Coach Matt Painter happy because the defense got completely sucked in, and a good job by McVay of kind of trailing the play intentionally, and then he's able to step unobstructed into a three.
McVay with 4 3-pointers. The Australian normally averages 6 points a game. He's doubled that in the first half.
They need to get it to him again, and they did.
Jacobson got poked in the eye.
Jack McVay, you mentioned it. Really good job of trailing the play, and that's on Ryan Klein. You can't afford to get sucked in all the way as deeply as he did. And on the last possession, Jacobson trying to pass out of the double team takes an inadvertent poke to the eye.
So the foul on P.J. Thompson, his first.
Doesn't make it hurt any less.
No.
It wasn't intentional.
It was not, though. But Jack McVay, who has been obviously very hot from that famed Australia Institute of Sport that Ben Simmons, Andrew Bogut, Della Vadova, way back Luke Longley came out of. So a lot of prize players from that country in that program. Inside of a minute, Jacobson straight on. High in the air to Swanigan.
Swanigan's closing in on double-digit rebounds here in the first 10, 20 minutes.
He has 9 to go along with 7 points.
Oh, they've got a mismatch with Watson.
That's a major mismatch. The double team comes. Klein cuts in, no. And losing it out of bounds, Vincent Edwards. So Nebraska will be able to get the last shot.
And Nebraska very fortunate because that was a size mismatch. That was like Webster trying to guard Shaq. I mean, there was no way that if they're able to get the ball down, that's Emmanuel Lewis, by the way, not Ty Webster. If they were able to get him down isolated, that was a basket. But when they had that mismatch, I got to give it to Watson. He gave up everything he had just trying to hold on.
He did. He was going at the midsection of Swanigan. And a foul on the drive with 10.5 ticks left. And that will put him at the line. So Ty Webster will be shooting 1 plus the bonus.
And Webster, you have to, he can get to the rim with either hand, Brandon, but you want to jump that right hand and not allow him to get a head of steam with his strong hand going to the basket. And this is where Nebraska really hurt themselves last time out versus Northwestern. Only 12 of 19 from the line, a couple of those one-on-one situations.
Webster hits that. It's actually the first free throw Nebraska's made in this game, Sean. They were 0 of 2 prior to that make. Tim Miles out on the floor wanting to make sure his defense is set for the last possession of the half. Webster 7 points. McVay leads everybody on the side of Nebraska with 12. And Webster will go to the bench after the free throws. Remember, he has 2 fouls. They don't want him to pick up a third, so Roby comes in. 8-point lead for the Huskers.
And if you dribble drive, the next common foul would send Purdue to the line.
They go for Swanigan. Deep post touch. No. Tap back. Yes, by Vincent Edwards. Three-quarter court heave. Off to the right. But all in all, a great first half for Nebraska trying to pull off the upset. They lead at 39-33. After the timeout, stay tuned. State Farm halftime report.
Huskers only 3 of 15 from deep, but McVay picking up the 4 previous games prior to that trip to Evanston. He was 9 of 18 from 3 over that 4-game stretch. So if you're Purdue, you have to locate him and make him put the ball on the floor. You can't allow him to sneak behind you, trailing the play, or in a ball reversal, set up shop in the corner, because he has shown you here in the first 20 minutes what he can do.
He did have 12 points against Rutgers, but already the 12 a season high in Big Ten play for Mr. McVay. And a season high 7 3-pointers made as a team in the first half for Nebraska. Purdue gets it to start the second half, and they go right into Swanigan. He has it blocked out of bounds.
Chimanga got kind of caught up on a screen, but nice recovery. Then look who comes in. The senior comes in to help the freshman on the Player of the Year candidate, Caleb Swanigan.
That was Ty Webster at 6'4", climbing the ladder against 6'9" Caleb Swanigan.
But he was able to make that play because of the recovery by Chimanga, and that allowed enough time for Webster to come down.
And remember, Chimanga playing with 3 fouls. Swanigan that time with a tough fadeaway jumper.
And I really like what Purdue did. Hey, we're going to pound the ball inside. The first one doesn't pay dividends, but the second does.
Swanigan, 9 points, 9 rebounds on the doorstep of his 18th double-double. Ty Webster, a 3 from the right wing, and Nebraska goes up 7. Webster joined the double-figure party. He has 11, and that is indeed the 4th foul on the freshman Jordy Chimanga.
And a good job by Carson Edwards there, Brandon, of understanding that he had his fellow freshman Chimanga away from the rim. That hesitation and just a half a step too slow by Chimanga, and a good recognition by Edwards will send Chimanga to the bench.
That has been a weakness in his game. He had foul trouble against Northwestern, 4 here. And speaking of fouls, this one is going to go against Michael Jacobson, another interior player. That's just his first.
And even though he doesn't get the rebound, this play is kept alive by Swanigan. On the dribble drive, the initial offering doesn't draw the bottom of the well, but Swanigan keeps it alive and allows Edwards to come in and clean up the mess.
And we were told at intermission, you mentioned Jacobson running off occasionally in that first half, that he is indeed battling an illness and is going back there a couple times to vomit.
Yeah, let's just say he's having some intestinal distress. And right now, I mean, this kid's playing on fumes. And the other thing is, he's making me look tan. I mean, he's a little peaked right now.
But they need him inside, especially with Chimanga picking up another foul.
And with Morrow again out.
Yep.
He's completely unavailable for him.
Yeah, Ed Morrow Jr. missing his 5th straight game with that right foot injury. And I don't think it's really a coincidence that it coincides with this 5-game losing streak that they're on. As Morrow is known as their best interior presence. Swanigan.
Nice pass.
And an easy flush for Vincent Edwards.
And a savvy play by Swanigan. What you noticed is that little ball fake. That got the defense moving, and that allowed the kick inside. Nice play by Swanigan.
So he does have 3 turnovers, but 4 assists now for Caleb Swanigan. He averages 3 a game. Step back Jay. Short by Webster. Offensive rebound. No for Jacobson. And then he falls. Purdue has a 5-on-4. And they take advantage. They can and they do. Carson Edwards from deep.
First it was the extra pass on the preceding possession by Swanigan. Here it's Thompson, who passes up an okay shot for a better shot in the corner, showing you why Purdue averages 20 assists per ball game.
So Purdue trailed by 6 at intermission. Boom, we're tied.
Back into this ball game because of excellent spacing and ball movement. We're going to see a great example of it here, Brandon. Watch the ball fake by Swanigan. The ball fake is going to get these 3 defenders. They know they have to try to get out to Matthias. They don't get there. The ball fake freezes them. That allows Edwards to get to the rim. The ball fake, the slip, you get the defense going one way and you come back the other. Excellent utilization of an underutilized part of the ball game, the ball fake by Caleb Swanigan. And
we discussed his turnover issues. He's had 3 of them. We need to pay that off by saying, as you have said, he's a really good assist man. He has 4 of those today. Out of the timeout, there's a response. Ty Webster to the rack.
That was way too easy if you're Purdue. I mean, he was able to turn the corner, and there wasn't a dark jersey impeding his path.
He has a baker's dozen, averaging 20 in Big Ten play, most of anybody in the conference. And a steal inside.
Really good job by Taylor of coming over the top of that inside hand again, the second time he's done that.
Nice block out of bounds, Vincent Edwards. Evan Taylor, the junior from Cincinnati.
Watch him. This is the nice job of rotating over by Edwards, taking away the opportunity at the rim by Webster. On the preceding possession, he'd been able to convert that.
They're recovering to McVay now after those 4 3-pointers in the first half.
Yeah, Matthias is glued to him.
Webster finding space.
Gonna push on Taylor, yep.
That will be the first on Evan Taylor, mentioned a junior from Cincinnati. First year at Nebraska. Spent a season at Samford, then junior college transfer from a year ago. Purdue led early, then Nebraska went on a run, took a lead with about 5 left in the first half. Purdue tied it a moment ago, and now looking to retie it or take the lead is Matthias with a kick up top.
Shot clock will stay at 18.
Yeah, the rule, if it's under 15 and there's a kick, it resets to 15, but since it's above, it will stay right there. Edwards trying to drive past McVay, and he does.
Really nice execution of the sideline out of bounds play. You get the ball to Edwards, who's got a full head of steam, and McVay just can't keep up with him laterally. And Matthias is glued to McVay.
He stepped on the sideline, though, trying to get a basket in transition.
Sideline out of bounds play. Purdue looking to score. The trigger man was Edwards. He gets it to Swanigan. The little dribble handoff allows Edwards to get ahead of steam with a strong hand, and McVay isolated.
Vincent Edwards, 6 points today, closing in on 1,000 for his Purdue career. He's at 940 as the junior. All knotted up. A good one today in Lincoln between number 20 Purdue and a Nebraska team trying to break the 5-game losing streak. That's going to go against that man Carson Edwards, his third.
And that's an area right there where McVay essentially served as a decoy, because Matthias, there's no question what his assignment has been. If McVay shoots another 3, I think they might have been told it's a long walk back to West Lafayette. So Matthias is glued to McVay, and McVay took Matthias out of that last play, hence some weak side help.
Webster into the corner. Great save by Taylor, but it finds its way over to P.J. Thompson.
Good recovery by McVay on the shooter Klein.
Those are 2 good 3-point shooters guarding each other. Nice spin move by Swanigan, but the foul will be on the floor, so the basket will not count.
And because they had 2 shooters on the same side of the floor, Matthias on the wing and Klein in the corner, that made a one-on-one situation in the post for Swanigan, and they took advantage.
Swanigan so impactful, number 2 in the entire country in rebounding. Tim Miles fired up. But then a playful smile as he backs up. He lost the sport coat early, as he usually does. There's double team.
Strong double team. Really good, strong double team.
He kicks out of it, though, but 3 seconds before the kick out.
If you're going to come with that double team, you can't come half-heartedly. If you're going to commit, commit. And Nebraska does. Nice job of walling up by Jacobson. And then you see McVay coming in there, and Edwards getting his mail delivered if they don't call the 3 seconds rather.
Edwards just got caught there, didn't move. The right call made. Turnover situation, 8 now on Purdue, 5 on Nebraska. Said it earlier, but Matt Painter, that's something he really wants to shore up. Thinks that's their biggest weakness right now. Not taking care of the ball. That time just being a little careless in the lane. Edwards faces up on McVay. Let's see if he likes this matchup. He does. Cannot take advantage. Out of bounds, they say that went off of Swanigan. And we find ourselves upon the first media timeout of the second half. All even at 44 apiece. A battle inside, a battle everywhere today. Nebraska tied with 20th ranked Purdue at 44 all. And in addition to Ed Morrow, Anton Gill out, and here's some injuries from around the league, Sean.
And Indiana has really been hurt in that category. Most recently, James Blackman Jr. out indefinitely with a lower leg injury. Kata Beats, a huge loss for Ohio State. And Anton Gill, we showed him earlier, out for the year. And it's not just the injuries, but a lot of times it's when they occur. You know, Northwestern is an excellent example. They had a pretty significant injury to Derek Pardon. It was in the non-conference. He's able to get back. What does he do once he gets back? He has 22 rebounds last time out for Northwestern versus these Cornhuskers.
That was Anton Gill on the left side of your screen a moment ago in the gray with the leg extended. So 2 pieces missing for the Huskers, and that shot missing by Glenn Watson Jr.
And the 13th rebound for Swanigan, and the next basket will give the sophomore his 18th double-double on the year, sitting on 9 points right now.
There's 18, most in the country. He has 4 20-20 games this year to Swanigan. The rest of the country has 8 combined. Klein, that time stepping inside the arc for a rare 2-pointer.
Only his 7th basket of the year from inside the 3-point arc.
Everything else from outside, and it puts Purdue up by 2, and then Klein picks up his 2nd personal on the other end. Coming up next, Indiana and Northwestern right here on BTN when we are done. Northwestern 6-2. Change of pace to see them in the top 4 of the league battling for a Big Ten title.
For people that may not have seen Northwestern play, their wings of Vic Law and Scotty Lindsey is athletic, long, and productive as any you're going to see in this conference.
McVay this time going backdoor for the 2-point shot. The foul is on the floor, however. And
a good job by Nebraska, Brandon, of utilizing the defensive intensity being employed on McVay, because he knocked down 4 threes in the first half. You saw Matthias, and initially, here, you jab step, good job. And the reason they made that call is that the foot was inside the restricted area. The official came in and pointed to that area.
In correction, I thought they got the swipe before the shot. They did not. First free throw is good, as Swanigan will take a seat with 2 personals.
And a really good job by Nebraska of utilizing the defensive intensity being employed on McVay against Purdue. That allowed, because they were so concerned Klein was of taking away the 3-point shot, McVay planted his foot, boom, back door.
Purdue by 1. A seesaw battle here in Lincoln. Haas, the double team comes, pass deflected. And Watson grabbed it, but his right foot was on the sideline.
And good movement all around by Nebraska. First with the double team, and then you saw Webster come in there and take away the safety outlet that Haas was trying to find out on the 3-point line.
Watch the shot clock. It's at 10. P.J. Thompson jump pass to Klein. Long 3. And he hits it falling down. That was a knuckleball.
I tell you what, though, that young guy does not lack for confidence. I mean, he shot that. He knew it was going in. And then he was complaining he wanted a 4-point play. The kick, Klein, a little bit of contact afterwards. Shouldn't have been a call. But you can't fault the guy for trying to litigate his case.
You're right, though. He does not lack for confidence. Sophomore from Carmel, Indiana. He grew up a shooter. That's translated at the collegiate level. So now the Boilers trying to expand on a 4-point lead. They did have a 9-point advantage with about 11 minutes remaining in the first half. Haas walked.
And that was made possible because of the strong double team by McVay. He came down, and because they were able to deflect the last time that Haas had the double team, he didn't want to fall into the same trap, tried to spin away, but before the ball hit the floor, he picked up his primary pivot foot.
Swanigan, most turnovers on the team, Haas 2nd.
And it's hard to miss that pivot foot when it's wearing a size 22.
He is a man amongst boys sometimes, Isaac Haas. Around the arc for Nebraska. Jacobson, who we said is battling an illness, finds McVay. Well, they've been taking the 3-point line for McVay, so he drives inside, gets the basket, heads to the line.
How about that bag of tricks by McVay? He says, hey, you're going to take away my 3-point shot. This isn't just a drive to the basket, Brandon. It's a drive to the basket with the off or left hand, and you see Haas coming in there. Might have been a gift. I'm not really sure where the contact was, but nevertheless, McVay doing a great job of making Purdue pay by not closing out under control.
Second foul on Haas. McVay, 15 points. Season average, 6 for the Australian native. For his best Big Ten performance of his career.
And now you've got to get it to Swanigan, because McVay now giving up a lot of size and girth to Swanigan if they're able to get the ball to him.
They go to Haas, and he dishes back up.
Boy, they're really collapsing in.
Thompson looking for space. Great kick to Matthias, and Matthias rattles it down.
Tough shot because you had Watson running in there, but a really good job by Thompson of drawing the defense. You had Nebraska completely collapsed inside, and Thompson, watch the jerseys go with him. That hesitation, 3 jerseys there. Watson tries to help out. Too late. Matthias, bottom of the well.
His 46th three-pointer this year, most for Purdue, and Purdue is top 10 in the country in three-pointers made. They're over 200 this season.
And Matthias 47% from deep, and again, Purdue just showing you how well they share the basketball.
Horn, who had a good first half, getting a friendly home Pinnacle Bank Arena bounce.
And a nice job by Horn of not taking that extra dribble and drawing a potential charge. He hit that floater. Nice recognition by the freshman.
Crowd's been great. They're making noise again. Here comes the double and the kick.
Good closeout by Webster.
Thompson straight on.
But when you move the ball that quickly, you've got to give up something. That was pretty good defense by Nebraska, but better offensive execution. And notice something, Brandon? The ball never hit the floor.
McVay got pushed. You mentioned that Matt Painter said, hey, get out to McVay at intermission. That time they got out to him a little too much.
And because he was able to utilize the dribble drive the last time, now that's in the back of their mind. Hey, I've got to close out aggressively, but if you don't close out under control, you leave yourself open to the situation that's going to send him to the line for 3.
He's closing in on a new career high. He has 17, career best 21. 8.7 rebounds against Northwestern, was really solid in that game despite a 12-point loss for Nebraska. And more solid here this afternoon in Lincoln.
He's definitely played his best basketball since the calendar year turned and conference play arrived. Prior to that Northwestern game, as I mentioned, he went through a 4-game streak where he was 9 of 18, 50% from deep.
But they are liking his effort here in this one. Boilermakers by 2 inside of 12 minutes.
Chimanga in there with 4.
He's in the paint right now, number 32 in white. They go right after him. Doesn't pick up the foul. Swanigan gets it back. And that's going to be a hold, not a jump ball. And the boos rain down. They're fired up. Speaking of raining things down, Purdue, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. They made 10 of them. This one, number 10. Tonight, an all-new episode of BTN's original The Journey, Big Ten Basketball 2017. Then our Hoops experts cover the major topics in college basketball and Big Ten basketball and beyond, all starting at 8:30 Eastern on BTN.
And Brandon, you heard Caleb Swanigan talk about the things that the NBA folks said motivated him. A lot of guys, they stop there. They don't take that and then put the work in that this young man has put in. Not just in remaking his body a little bit, but becoming a much more consistent perimeter threat. And he plays as hard as anybody you're going to see setting the tone.
Such a body transformation for him over the years. It was a kid in 8th grade, 360 pounds, 6'2". And what Swanigan has been able to do as he finishes the bucket there and transforming that into a 6'9", 250-pound chiseled frame is really something.
And he just transformed himself into his 18th double-double. That gives him 11 points.
18 double-doubles, that's good, right? That's pretty good on the season. Well, he did pick up his 3rd foul right there on the other end.
And he didn't need to. He had pretty good position on the freshman Chimanga. But what he did is he broke verticality. He was there, then that inside hand came down just enough to draw the attention of the official.
.65% shooter at the line this year, Jordy Chimanga. Haas returns, and he'll replace Swanigan. So a big tree for a big tree. And Klein will also go to the bench.
That's 3 on Swanigan. So let's see, Brandon, if Coach Matt Painter tries to get to the next media timeout, which would come around the 8-minute mark before Swanigan re-enters the ballgame.
Haas has 2. So that's the foul situation for Purdue's big men. That was Chimanga's first point of the game. He's playing with 4 fouls against the ball right now. Stepping into a jumper, Dakota Mathias. He's been a nice spark plug. He has 8. Dumping it into Chimanga. Still in search of that first field goal. Not there, but the tap out goes to McVeigh, and then he had it deflected and taken away.
He wasn't strong enough. He wanted to get the ball to Webster in the corner, but he wasn't able to chin the basketball and then convert the pass.
Spike Albrecht into the game for the first time. Of course, a former Michigan player who came onto the scene against Louisville in the national title game.
Now they faked the double team, and good recognition by Haas, because what you saw was McVeigh the last 2 times that Haas has caught the ball, Brandon, he's come down there hard. And you thought he was going to do that. He faked it. Haas did a good job of recognizing it, but then he got a little bit ahead of himself.
Second traveling call against the junior. Purdue, though, claiming a 5-point lead still.
And Mathias in that far corner, absolutely glued to McVeigh.
McVeigh's got it right now.
Good job of getting over the top of the screen by Mathias.
Dishes it off. Ty Webster never shy. Mathias up the right sideline. The cutter Edwards. Albrecht can hit that shot. Doesn't take it. Into the big fella. Easy. Right-handed finish for Isaac Haas.
And that pass was away from the defense. More important that that pass was away than the defense than to the teammate Haas. And Haas was able to catch, gather, and go up and complete. Excellent entry feed.
And Tim Miles, sensing Purdue stretching that lead, is going to take that.
Kind of setting the tone because they've been able to stretch out Nebraska from behind the arc. Now, Nebraska understands that they have to close out, and that's allowing easier entry feeds inside. And the most recent beneficiary of that was Isaac Haas.
Haas now has 11 with that last basket. Taylor, extra pass to the corner to Horn. He hit one earlier, not that go-around. This time, Horn inside.
Nice play by Jacobson. That kid's playing with a lot of guts. He's certainly not feeling his best, but he gets an offensive rebound, doesn't panic, utilizes the dribble, Brandon. That allows the opportunity and the lane for Horn.
Great tomahawk throwdown. Foul on the floor against Jacobson, though, defending Haas.
Michael Jacobson really coming into his own as an offensive rebound. Watch that. That dribble clears space. That forces Purdue to spread out defensively, and Horn understands it. But that is not possible if Jacobson panics and stays close to the rim and doesn't utilize that dribble.
Both teams in the bonus the rest of the way. Dakota Mathias off the mark from the right wing. Nebraska looking to make it a 1-possession game. Coming off the loss against Northwestern, Purdue a big win Tuesday at Michigan State in convincing fashion. Tap away, but it goes right into the hands of Michael Jacobson. 7 to shoot.
And a good job there by Nebraska. Kind of a breakdown offensively, but it was a small thing, and what you saw was Jacobson step out. And what that did is it forced Haas to step out an extra step and a half. They get the ball down to Webster, and because Jacobson had pulled Haas away from the rim, that allowed Webster a path to the basket.
And now he'll look to add to his 13 points. You mentioned when will they bring back in Swanigan? It's at the 8:32 mark.
I was close.
Yeah, you said around the 8-minute media timeout.
You're a tough grader, though. I probably got summer school coming now.
Well, yeah, I'd give you a D-. This isn't The Price is Right.
Hey, it's going on my tombstone. Don't worry about it.
Nebraska back within 3, and this crowd back making some noise.
They'll try to get Swanigan a touch, and they do. Good offensive patience. Just not able to convert. Good job by Swanigan. He was waiting to see if the double team was coming. When he saw it wasn't, that's when he made his move.
Webster, Jacobson cutting to the rim, but it was behind him. Now up ahead. Edwards has it blocked by Taylor. And Ty Webster, the senior, with a cross-court skip. McVeigh.
Nice recovery by Vincent Edwards.
Crowd wanted McVeigh to pull that despite the recovery. Got knocked loose. Comes right back to Jeriah Horn.
I tell you what, folks at home may think, hey, that's an easy shot. That is not an easy shot if you're Jeriah Horn. Because so many times when you're 5 or 6 feet away, how many times do you see it go off the back iron because guys try to overcompensate? That is a difficult shot.
A foul inside. That is against Evan Taylor. But game on in Lincoln. Defensive end. Taylor with a block. And on the other side, maybe a little luck, but Jeriah Horn gets Nebraska within one. The arrow with the home team.
And fouls in terms of individually, far more of a factor right now for Nebraska than the visitors from Purdue. Jordy Chimanga, the freshman, with 4, and Michael Jacobson, really the only other guy with size along that front line right now for Nebraska with 3.
And right now the officials are over at the monitor taking a peek to find out who the shooter is going to be, making sure that it is Carson Edwards who's standing at the line right now, coming out of the timeout.
Nebraska's done a pretty good job of keeping Purdue from the foul line. The Boilermakers 5 of 5, but this is a team in Purdue that shoots 75% from the line as a squad. So that's been an area that Nebraska has not allowed Purdue to exploit.
To expand on that a little bit further, you look at the numbers on the season. Purdue has made 327 free throws, their opponents 190. So you're right, it is a stark contrast, but a nice job by Nebraska today.
And it helps when your post players, in the form of Swanigan at 79% and Haas at 72, since they're going to be going there the preponderance of the time, it really helps when they can convert.
Preponderance?
Oh, yeah.
How about that? That's a $50 word. Inside Jacobson. Waited patiently, but then Edwards blocked it. He got it back and kicks out to Taylor.
He just wasn't able to elevate. I got to give that young guy a lot of credit, because you can tell whatever that's there, he's given to the Cornhuskers right now. This is the move they worked on, and it pays dividends.
Pays dividends indeed. 15-footer on an angle.
Oh, my man Stephen Barta will remember this. Jack Sikma, the inside pivot, creating space. That was beautiful.
You saying I don't remember?
That might predate you, just a hair.
But I know the name. I want you to know that. On the wing, it's Dakota Mathias.
You don't remember the white guy perm, and that's probably for the best.
Never sported that one. 7 to shoot. Edwards going to work.
Nice job defensively. Really good job.
But then a costly turnover in the backcourt. Edwards steps into a 17-footer strong. This crowd just waiting, hoping that their Cornhuskers can regain the lead.
This young Nebraska squad has battled and battled and battled here this afternoon.
Purdue has led 2/3 of the ball game, 20 minutes of it. Inside, laying it in, and a foul. Nebraska back on top.
Made possible because of the lone upperclassman on the floor right now for Nebraska, Ty Webster. Watch the attention he draws. All the jerseys sucked down in there. That allows the dive. And then if you're Mathias, you just have to let Jacobson go. If you're going to foul him, you have to make sure he can't get the ball above his shoulders. But that's all made possible because of Ty Webster, his 6th assist this afternoon.
Free throw good. Webster normally team best 4 assists, so a pair better than that, as you noted. Well, Tim Miles, we were reading in the paper this morning, after the 5-game losing streak, put his team at a local hotel just to mix things up, doing anything to try to break the slump. It's working so far. Right wing 3 and a silencer from Carson Edwards.
Textbook. You go inside, you force the defense to collapse, and again, the extra pass from Thompson. Had a decent shot, gave it up for a better one to his teammate, Carson Edwards.
Purdue has hit 11 threes, not to be outdone. Nebraska's hit 9, above their season average of 6. Webster losing his balance.
Good duck in. Really good duck in.
How about the freshman taking it right at Swanigan?
Excellent duck in and a beautiful post feed from Jeriah Horn. He knows that Chimanga is a left-handed shooter, and he got it to him where he could do something with it. This is fun, man.
It is. Now Swanigan, I think he wants to go back against Chimanga. Instead, he finds the open shooter, Dakota Mathias.
It's probably a good thing that Coach Tim Miles wasn't mic'd, because we would have had to have bleeped that, because as soon as the ball got to Mathias, he dropped his head and understood we cannot leave that guy alone.
So Purdue back up 2. We have had 8 lead changes. And a pair of ties.
Oh, and I think he might have rolled his ankle. Webster's down. I think he landed on that ankle pretty awkwardly. He's slow getting back.
Now they pass it up ahead to him. He does rise to his feet. Ankle looked pretty good there, but he had it stripped. Edwards into the teeth of Taylor. No. But Purdue can reset with Edwards out high. The other Edwards, Vincent.
Now, if I'm Purdue, I'm going to test that ankle of Webster. He's not at full strength right now, and whoever he ends up guarding, I'm going to make him move laterally.
He's guarding Mathias. Swanigan, no good on the right-handed hook.
And Webster, he's literally walking up the floor right now. I mean, he's grabbing his shorts. He is gassed.
Staying out there. Just kind of jogging diagonally to the corner. There's what I mentioned. 8 lead changes, a pair of ties. 5 to shoot.
They've got the size mismatch.
And an air ball on that bad ankle. Webster does have 15. 3 in double figures for Nebraska and 3 in double figures for the Boilermakers.
And Webster is really tired. Notice his hands on his hips right there as they come back defensively.
Mathias hits the 3 and right on cue. Who was guarding him? Ty Webster.
Good recognition by Purdue. You know, it may sound heartless to the fans at home, but if you smell blood in the water, you have got to go after it. And if a guy has shown you that he may be not at 100%, you have to take advantage.
And a timeout taken by Nebraska. Mathias has now hit 4 threes, 14 points. And Webster, Sean, you mentioned it. Maybe a tweak of the ankle as he cuts inside, rolling that left ankle. We'll see if he can come back and fight to the finish.
You know, you saw what Purdue, they saw what we did over here, Brandon. They saw that Webster wasn't at full strength, and they just went right at him. They ran him off a series of staggered, and I think in addition to tweaking that ankle, he was gassed. He was absolutely gassed. He was grabbing at his shorts, and Purdue recognized that, and on the last offensive sequence was able to take advantage. In
Big Ten play, he's averaging 20 points a game, most prolific scorer in league action, and he goes to the bench.
And he leads the conference in minutes played as well.
How will they do in his absence? Well, the early returns are good.
This team, regardless of the outcome, Nebraska, undermanned, especially along the front line, has just battled their tail off.
Jeriah Horn has 14 points. Just 11 total his last 4 games. Purdue on the other end, the equalizer from Mathias.
Mathias utilizing that curl cut, comes from the right wing into the left, and again, his dribble penetration, which makes it possible. And he has been the story for Purdue, much like McVay was in the first half of Nebraska.
5 threes for Mathias, 17 points total. Chimanga with the answer. Swanigan saying I was straight up, but he just got whistled for his 4th.
How about the response? Off the 3, that's a tough catch. This is a difficult play for Chimanga. Just a really good job. He had to kind of go back behind him before he could get to that left hand. And Chimanga, I tell you what, he may not be the most fluid player right now, but the minutes that he is getting, not just in this game, but this season, is going to pay dividends for that young man in this program.
Completing the 3-point play. 75-73. 2 minutes to go. Strap in.
I'm going to make sure I get Swanee freshman on him. They're both in foul trouble. He knocked down some threes.
They do go to Swanigan, and Chimanga just fouled out of the game. The crowd's beside itself. Tim Miles also beside himself. And the crowd just saw the replay on the video board above our heads, and the boos became louder.
Well, they isolate Swanigan. They've been able to stretch out Nebraska defensively. Yeah, I think he got him across the arm. Right there. That's a tough one to have as your fifth, but I tell you what, I'll say it again. This young man, the future is very, very bright. He showed you what he can do. What the folks at home don't see is the work that he puts in practice and how much it means to him. He'll reap the benefits.
Caleb Swanigan calmly hits the first. And 6 points doesn't really tell the story today for Jordy Chimanga. Some nervous faces in the student section here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Still a one-possession game. Purdue on the 3-game winning streak. Nebraska the 5-game skid. Evan Taylor off balance.
How about that? He was looking to pass it, Brandon. I think he was looking to kick it into the left corner. Got up in the air and saw that that was taken away. That was an extremely difficult shot.
A guy who hasn't scored all game steps up and hits that bucket. Swanigan foul.
Taylor gets into the lane. Now watch. Off this dribble handle. It looks like he's going to pass. Did you see him look to the corner? He was looking for Horn. They took that away. He's like, I'm up in the air. I got to do something with it. Watch right here. He's looking. Then he relocates the rim. That is a very difficult shot.
I mentioned it. His first points, first field goal. By the way, the foul preceding that free throw shot against Michael Jacobson, he has 4. Remember, Chimanga just fouled out, so interior trouble for Nebraska right now.
And both of those last fouls have come because remember how strongly Nebraska was coming on the double team? They've had to get away from that because of the three-point shooting of Matthias. As a result, the post defenders have been isolated one-on-one.
Watson, he'll be held. Third on P.J. Thompson. Both teams double bonus.
Watson 79% on the year. However, last time out, not his best performance from the charity stripe for the sophomore from Chicago, only 4 of 7.
First one good. But as a team, they have been really good, Nebraska, but not as good as Purdue. So if this comes down to a free throw shooting competition, the Boilermakers have been 82% in league play. But right now, it's all about number 5, Watson, and he gets them both.
Now let's see, again, with Jacobson out there with those 4 fouls, they're going to put Matthias on the same side of the floor as Swanigan and force Nebraska to make a decision defensively.
1 minute remaining. It's all Swanigan.
Good job.
And it's taken away.
What a job by Jacobson.
Glenn Watson to McVeigh. The stick back by Jacobson.
Hey, man, that kid is playing, you name the body organ. He is showing you with a lot of guts. This kid he can barely get over to the huddle. He's playing on fumes. Chimanga's out. He's giving him everything he has on the defensive end. Then he converts on the offensive end. Watch him right here, wall up. Then he gets it, kicks it out, doesn't give up on the play. Pretty good transition defense by Purdue. McVeigh not able, but watch what he did. He beat the freshman Edwards from all the way down at the other end and established position.
The win against Iowa, then they've lost 5 straight, but boy, this would turn things around quickly. (79-78) with just above 40 seconds left, and I must say, Pinnacle Bank Arena is rocking.
Oh man, they got finally some music I can get into. They're playing Enter Sandman. Some of that other nonsense has been going on.
The Boilermakers looking for a big basket here. They're going into Swanigan.
And Taylor understands that he cannot leave Matthias.
Swanigan backs down Jacobson, lost it. 3 seconds in the lane. A Purdue turnover. And look who's coming back in, Ty Webster. Just rolled his ankle a few moments ago.
And he's in there to provide some leadership, but also, look, if Purdue has to give a foul, you want to make sure that Webster's out there at 72%.
He's the trigger man. Dangerous pass, but he does get it into Jack McVeigh. And McVeigh is held. 4th foul on P.J. Thompson.
And what that did for Purdue, Brandon, is that they gave the foul early. You take a look now, you've got 25 seconds. So regardless of what McVeigh does here, you understand it's kind of like an overtime in football. You kind of want to know what you have to beat. And by giving the foul early, Purdue is giving themselves that option.
Nebraska today 14 of 18 at the line. McVeigh now 5 of 7. He was 5 of 6.
Now Jacobson going back in on this second foul shooting opportunity. If you're Jacobson, unless the ball completely hits you on the head, you do not want to go out on a 5th foul with an offensive rebounding foul.
2-point lead. Shot clock off. Here we go. Matthias into Swanigan. Kicks out. Ball hits the deck. It's picked up by Glenn Watson. And Purdue has to foul. Matt Painter thought there was a hold. And Tim Miles, 10.5 seconds away from pulling off the upset. But it's not over yet.
No, it's certainly not. And you're going to see, yeah, here comes Ryan Klein. He's going to come in because of his 3-point shooting ability. And if you're Nebraska, you have to understand now time and score as well. You want to make sure that if you extend the pressure that you don't allow someone to get a full head of steam coming up the floor, turn them side to side, but you certainly don't want to stop the clock with a foul.
3-point game, now the big one to try to make it 2 possessions. And Purdue's P.J. Thompson, you saw it a moment ago, he becomes the first Boilermaker to foul out. Purdue does have 1 timeout remaining. Edwards has to move quickly. And a blocking foul. We're trying to get it to Matthias, who has hit 5 3-pointers. He'll have to hit them from the free throw line now. Double bonus.
And here comes Webster again for the same situation. Good use of the situational substitution. You're getting Webster out on the defensive end of the floor where Purdue can try to exploit him, but you're getting him back in because if they have to give a foul, you want to make sure your senior is out there because he has the ability to convert with the game on the line.
Big free throw for Matthias. A man to sit is Evan Taylor as Webster replaces him. 18 points for Dakota Matthias. He averages half that. 19 points. Back to 2.
And Haas is in there to provide more than just a passing obstacle for Webster to have to deal with to throw the ball in.
Webster gets it into McVeigh, and he is quickly fouled. So you're sending an 82% shooter back to the line, and Jack McVeigh, the sophomore.
And here comes again, they're getting Webster out. Since he wasn't the player that was fouled, you're going to get Taylor back in there because regardless of what McVeigh does, you have one more defensive stance. And it looked like they're going to get Taylor in for Webster.
McVay waiting patiently on those 20 points. His career high is 21. Missed it. So whatever the case here, it will still be a one-possession game.
And I know there are different philosophies, but there is no way in this or any other lifetime I am going to allow on a make here that I'm going to allow Purdue to shoot a three. I'm going to give the foul.
He does make it. Three-point game. Let's see what they do. Purdue does have a timeout. Edwards hands it. The three is off the mark by Matthias. And the ball game is over. Nebraska snapping its 5-game losing streak in grand fashion with a win over number 20 Purdue. They did get one final look. Matthias, who had hit 5 triples on the game, a little too much mustard. And the Huskers win it 83-80. Tim Miles take a deep breath, a sigh of relief, and celebrate. And the students coming out to celebrate as well. After the 3-0 start to league play, 5 losses for Nebraska in a row. But that seems like a distant memory.